Now for the development team update for the month of June 2022. On the team development side, Luca continued his work on the 2CNF extraction and implemented an efficient intersection algorithm for the union find data structure. He also finished the integration of the 2CNF data structure into their BDD library and started testing that part. He's also been working on proof of computation algorithms using the sum-check protocol, and he ran into some computational issues, but I think we have them resolved by allowing the prover to use our BDD library. So that would be a great solution if we can get it to work. All right. David continued his work on Boolean algebra and CQC optimization of TML program. He also developed an algorithm for solving systems of Boolean equations or inequalities that is well suited to BDD representation. And as we heard from Tomasz during the Q&A question, he's been busy working on the TML IDE. He enhanced the build scripts to enable the compilation and translation of the latest parsing logic into JavaScript, which enables the TML IDE. He also cleaned up the old regression tests and created some new regression tests. He also refactored some TML classes for built-in functions for printing. And also in cooperation with Umar, he's been adding some priorities for the parsing of TML syntax in order to solve some instability problems that are currently in the IDE. Juan has continued his work on the core TML engine. He's finalizing the bit transform operation, and to that end, he had to develop a method for statically determining the optimal size, bit size for any data type. This is a very important optimization for a TML program, and we hope that it would definitely result in a much better runtime, as we currently use a fixed number of bits instead of variable number of bits. And in doing so, he's doing his best to maintain backwards compatibility between the new type system and the old type system so that no TML programs would break, but then again, we might have to do that. And once that's finalized, we'll have the bit transform or the bit universe transformation, and hopefully we should be able to see very nice improvements in TML time execution. Umar on his side continued his work on the parse force generation for the early parser. On a request of Ohad, he re-implemented the parse force generation using a more incremental method that uses less memory at runtime. He was able to reuse most of the data structures and procedures for that, which was nice to help enhance that transition. So now he has the incremental method working. He's also working on left-right optimizations. And also, as I mentioned earlier, in cooperation with Tomasz, he's working on priorities to disambiguate ambiguous logics. That's on the TML side. On the Agoras Live side, as you remember, we hired a tester to test the first version of the Agoras Live applications, and he came back with many issues. I think we mentioned at least 50 bugs in the UI, and this month Andre was able to resolve all of them. He was also able to make some improvements to the payment systems and to the video conferencing systems as well, making the application is more stable. That's it for the development team. And now for our team members to give us their individual updates. Luca, could you please start?
Yes, thank you, Karim. Yeah, you outlined my month pretty well. I implemented an efficient intersection algorithm for our persistent union find data structure. In particular, for example, I enhanced set retrieval with a custom iterator to save on vector allocations in memory and things like that. And then for testing the 2CNF data structures integration in the BDD library, I had to write an evaluation algorithm for those changes to make it compatible. And so the testing is now happening. And on the proof of execution side of things, the main challenge of this month was, and that was also the main focus of this month, to get the sum-check protocol going, So last month I focused on how to arithmetize correctly. And this month, the central problem was how to align the prover's computations with the verifier's computations, because we want the prover to use the BDD library. However, this results in something which we call reduced computations, while the verifier, having very limited capability of doing computations, doing unreduced computations. And so we have been looking into formalisms on how to align those two notions of computations. And we made progress, and it's very exciting stuff to work on. And looking forward for next month. So I'll pass back to Karim. Thank you.
Indeed, that's very exciting and very nice progress, Luca. Thank you. David, could you please give us your update?
Thanks, Karim. Hi, everyone. Regarding Boolean algebras, I've been working in a new idea for an algorithm. It's based on a PDD representation of the system of inequalities, and having a PDD representation allows us to enumerate certain solution of each of the inequalities separately. And then I have a procedure to merge all those solutions and check if it gives us a solution of the whole system. I have discussed a little the idea with Ohad. He has pointed me into Leuenheim theorem, and I'm working on that. And regarding optimization of TML, right now I'm looking for a proper cost function to be used in the branch and bound algorithm, so we could get the optimal solution with respect to that cost function. And that's for my note. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Yeah, thank you for the great progress. And I'm really glad that you have a PhD in mathematics, because without it, I don't think I would have been able to solve any of those problems. Thanks. Tomasz, could you please take it next?
Yeah, thank you, Karim. Hello, everyone. This month, I focused mainly on the IDE JavaScript build, refactoring and fixing bugs. Regarding TML, I've refactored the outputs class and printing methods into separate files. I fixed a double free error of the outputs class. I fixed an issue with assigning a raw program. I've added printing of formulas which are unnested. I did cleanup of the tests directory, and currently I'm working on updating tml.g to use priorities. And regarding JavaScript build, I've enhanced mscripten build scripts to create both module for the web and library for Node.js. I've fixed file system and standard input when running under Node.js. I've updated mscripten bindings for the latest changes in TML. I fixed an error when there was no lexeme in the input program string. I've added the regression scripts to run tests in Node.js environment, and I've also added mscripten install and Node.js regression tests into GitHub workflows. And regarding IDE, I fixed showing of the TML commit hash as a version, and I'm also working on running regression tests directly in browser, and I'm fixing related bugs.
Amazing. Thank you, Tomasz, for all that work on the TML IDE. As we saw earlier from the Q&A questions, we're starting to get a lot of specific questions on the TML IDE. So we see that your work is getting a lot of visibility among our user base and a lot of good use. So please keep it up. Thank you, Tomasz. Juan, could you please take it next?
Thank you, Karim, and hi, everybody. As Karim already put into advance, I kept working on this type inference, type resolution mechanism, which is actually replacing core functionalities or core features of TML. And we pay very special attention. We are really making a strong effort to give, as Karim pointed out, backwards compatibility, in order to prevent end users or the TML programmers to have to deal with types in an explicit way, as it is currently TML doing. And since we are actually changing the number of bits that each data element in the system will be using, we are also preventing or avoiding the end users to have to deal with these bit widths in an explicit way. So this also this types plus type bit width handling in a transparent way for the end user proposes some challenges at the design of the transformation or implementation. But the feature is getting ready, and yeah, we were looking forward to get it, make it deployed to the as a default feature of TML in the short term. By now, it's still not deployed because we still have some compatibility issues with the built-ins and some testing which are using other transformations like nested programs and state blocks. But we're looking forward to wrap up this in the short term. So that's from my side. Thanks.
Thank you, Juan. Thanks. Yeah, we are looking forward to the results of performance improvements from the Bit Universe transformation. Thanks. Umar, are you there? Could you please give us your update for this month?
Yeah, hi team. Yes, so this month we have been working on adding the incremental forest generation within the previous version of the forest generation algorithm. And we have added a new flag, IGF, that enables the generation of forest in an incremental way. So that has been incorporated, tested, and it works well. As far as the performance improvements are concerned, they still need to be evaluated. Another thing that I worked on was on we encountered a bug here, which was around a nullable start item, where some of the early items were not added for the starting non-terminal. And that was the reason that some of the forest trees were not being captured in the final forest graph. So now, after having fixed the issue, now we have a complete enumeration of all possible trees within the forest. So that was a good catch, and we were able to fix it quickly. Another thing that I just achieved in the last few days was an improvement to the way how we store the early items within the parser. Previously, they were using a standard set container. That has now been replaced with an unordered container using a custom hash function, and that has brought the recognition time for the earlier parser down from nearly down to 50% for the long-running test cases. So we have tested it for the stress test. It brought 50% improvement. We are going to test it across other scenarios and hopefully check this change in the master branch to make it applicable across all possible test scenarios. That's for the update of the month.
That's amazing, Umar. Thank you very much. That's a good example of using the right STL containers for everything. That wraps up the update for the TML team. Andre would like to tell us your update on the Agoras Live application, please.
Hello, everyone. Last month, we had a lot of bugs found by the developer we hired, and all through the whole month, I was clearing them one by one, and I finished them all, so we can be sure that the Agoras Live application is now cleared of the most visible bugs. Of course, we will still need to confirm everything and check. Also, I'm working currently on video conferencing side of Agoras project, since we are close to some public testing. Video conferencing side must be stable, and it must work with the blockchain without any issues. And I'm currently updating video conferencing engine and improving its connection with the blockchain. I'm hoping to finish it very soon, and after that we will get our testing guy back to check the whole Agoras Live application once again, just to be sure that everything is cleared. And after that, we can move to some closed community testing and for the release. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Andre. Thank you. And now for Luis's individual update. Go ahead, Luis, please.
Hi, everybody. I've been busy preparing and delivering the weekly sessions for the academic panel. The topic in June was mostly infinite games as decision procedures for logics and formalisms such as NSO, the model book calculus, and Boolean equation systems. I've also been researching into fixed point logics from the viewpoint of finite model theory. And more recently, I started researching into data log rules with the junctions in the head, with the objective of finding efficient algorithms that can then be adapted for TNL. So that's all.
Excellent, Luis. Thank you very much. Thanks for the update.
So now recently we started to have regular meetings on the social choice aspects of Tau. Before that, they were just, this was a topic that was sometimes discussed in our academic panel, but now we're trying to have more focus on that by having a separate meeting just on that topic, and that has started recently, beginning of June, and we're discussing different topics. First of all, from existing literature on judgment aggregation, belief merging, voting in general, but also specifically voting in combinatorial domains, which is very similar to what needs to be done within the Tau system. So we're looking at those topics that have been already researched and written about in the scientific literature. But then we're also thinking beyond what we find in the literature, more specifically towards what is relevant for the Tau system based on the decisions that we have already made concerning the language of Tau, or the logical framework of Tau, how it relates to those issues of social choice that we need to address, while also keeping in mind questions of decidability, that of course in the end we need a system that is algorithmically realizable, so it has to be some decidable procedure. So this is what we talk about now on a regular basis, and we will continue to do so, and yeah, we are already making progress now, and hopefully we'll make more progress in the coming weeks and months on this topic.
Ohad, would you like to say some closing words, please?
So I continue working with Professor Fanconi on the software specification language. I wrote some precise formulation of the ideas, and they look even more promising. It's a very exciting new software specification language. Also, as I said many times, both the software specification language and the language that can speak about itself are not really languages, but language extensions that are allowed to take virtually any language and extend it with those abilities. So we need to choose which language to extend. So we call this to choose the base logic. And Professor Fanconi came up with the realization that the logic which we take should be some variant of OWL, which is a language in the world of the semantic web. So we keep working on the software specification language, and also see how to start implementing this all after we chose the base logic, which is OWL, a certain fragment of OWL. So we will also need to study how it all comes together. And on another front, as Luca mentioned, I was involved in thinking how to make the Samcheck protocol and the proof of execution applicable for our specific setting. And that's basically all.
Excellent, Ohad. Yes, thank you very much for your help on that last part. Excellent. That concludes our updates for the development team.